The Czech composer Leoš Janáček was one of the great opera composers of the early 20th century. Multi-talented, he not only wrote for the opera stage, but also left us a treasure of choral, chamber, organ, and symphonic music. So how did this serious man come to write The Cunning Little Vixen, an opera based on a comic strip? Yes, a comic strip, published in the local newspaper. Some background first. By the early 1920s, Janáček was already in his late 60s. His early opera, Junufa, a sad story about infanticide and redemption, had only recently been revived and confirmed his international reputation. But by then, he had chosen to live quietly out of the musical mainstream, away from Prague, the Czech capital, in the secondary city of Brno. Short, stocky, with a crown of untamed white hair, he was a familiar and admired figure. Because of his accomplishments, most people brushed aside his scandalous extramarital affairs, his abrupt swings of mood, and his defiance of organized religion. If he worshipped anything at all beyond music making, it was nature. He'd often stroll around his country home, a dog at his side and a notebook in hand, ever ready to capture the calls of his roosters and hens or the songs of passing birds. They inspired his musical ideas. Once he was even heard begging a flock of birds, "Please speak to me, please speak to me. I must have your music." Obviously a serious nature lover. One day while working in his study, he was jarred by peals of laughter coming from the kitchen. "What's going on?" he asked his maid. She explained she had just picked up the newspaper and seen the latest episode of the new comic strip called Vixen Sharp Ears, about a bushy-tailed female fox, a vixen, and her antics. In the panel, Sharp Ears is carrying a bouquet presented by her mate, the male fox Goldenstripe. The maid found that hilarious. Janáček responded with stony silence. He hadn't noticed the comic strip before, even though it was enormously popular. But it clearly touched his deep feelings for nature, Czech folklore, and Slavic nationalism. These were recurring themes in the strip. Beyond spoofing the animals and the rural folks they lived with, Vixen Sharp Ears satirized newly established Czechoslovakia's political and social upheavals after the First World War. It also showed how the animals lived out their lives, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in conflict, scarcely more intelligent or less brutal than the humans around them. It was a chance for Janáček to explore musically his fascination with nature's grand design, the joy and sorrow of birth, death, and rebirth, what poets call the circle of life. Soon, Janáček threw himself into Vixen Sharp Ears' rural world, visiting a forester who had spotted a family of local foxes for him to spy on. By autumn, Janáček had finished writing his script, his libretto, for the opera stage. By spring, he had completed the score, and within a year, on November 6, 1924, The Cunning Little Vixen had its premiere in Brno, while the comic strip itself continued to live on in book form. According to Janáček's biographers, he found the music so beautiful, so moving, he was crying at the end of the dress rehearsal. He told the director, "You must play it at my funeral."